Hello, I am happy for our weekly live for lawyers. And today I want to say that we are talking strategy. And when we talk about strategy, let's just step back a little bit because, we spend this 15 minutes every week. And what we're trying to do is we want attorneys to totally enjoy, prosper, and succeed in their law practices. And we take a holistic approach, which is mental, emotional, and the productivity and organization factor with regard to your law practice. And so when we're talking about strategy, then we're talking about let's get underneath the hood and let's get the nuts and the bolts of what actions, what uh, goals and so forth that you want to set so that you can it all will coordinate and orchestrate into creating a more successful practice. So to this week, we want to talk a little bit about funnels because too many attorneys it's like being a lawyer is not a as far as marketing is not a passive activity. In law school, many attorneys find themselves thinking that once I learn how to do this work, and once I get my past the bar, and now I'm a lawyer, I'm going to be hired by a firm, and I'm going to be doing all this productive work, and then that's going to equal success. And unfortunately, in many cases, we find that that doesn't work. What we find are many attorneys are, if they're locked into a firm in their structure, and they don't have the ability to build their own practice, or if they decide to go out on their own or go to a smaller firm and they don't have clients, then they find themselves kind of pigeonholed into being a worker bee lawyer, which doesn't really allow them to rise up in the ranks of success as well as financial succeeding financially. So when we think about a funnel, it's a strategy because you can't go out there and you say, "Oh, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to network." It does work. I mean, in the olden days, I guess the good old days, most deals were done on the golf course, and they were done in these secret meetings, and they were passed down from family to family and generation to generation. And we did business with your grandfather, we did that business with your father, and we're now going to do business with you. Those days are basically pretty much gone. I mean, I'm not saying that there isn't a minuscule, small population that are able to like lean on those old traditions, but most attorneys today and now have to figure a way to differentiate themselves from other attorneys. And so going into a firm and working is good, but it's not a strategy. It's just falling into a path that may or may not get you where you want, and more than likely won't. So there's a simple tool, it's called a funnel. And a funnel is something that an attorney will look at to how will they grow their practice more than using the traditional marketing methods. I was speaking to someone yesterday, and they were talking about, oh, I'm going to hire this advertising firm, and they're going to give me leads. And I have talked to many attorneys, and I'm not saying it doesn't work, but I've not yet run into someone who's paid these thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars so they can now get these great SEO and all of this great advertisement result in dollars in their bank account. And so most of them find themselves feeling depleted, feeling disappointed, and say, I spent a lot of money for a lot of nothing. Then there are those who just say, okay, I'm going to rely on social media. And that certainly there are attorneys that have been successful in social media. And then there are a vast majority that are not successful in social media. So we want to look at, okay, if I would look at a strategy that I might employ then what would having a funnel look like? So what it is, it's a process that you take your clients through a particular journey from an initial awareness to kind of developing a relationship over time, and then eventually getting into a consultation mode, and then eventually converting this person into client. Now, this really is a streamline for getting clients, and it's a way that you would look at. First of all, they call it a funnel because the funnel is very wide at the top, and then it narrows down as you get down to the client acquisition. So if you start at the top, you want to look at, now, where is a place where I could bring in potential clients into this funnel? And there's a number of ways you could do that. You could have an event. You could have a monthly event. You could have, provide educational programs. You could have open house, or if it was your firm. So there's a lot of things that you could do, but what you have to do is you have to get a pool of where your clients are. For example, a lot of personal injury attorneys, they kind of look at doctors and chiropractors or whatever, people who have been in personal injury, car accidents, truck accidents. So then you have to find out where that is. Another place might be, say, for example, if you were into trust and estates, then you kind of want to look at where are the people who are going to want to do wills, and where are the people who are probably going to be looking at their futures and what they're going to do with their assets. Boomers, where are boomers? So you want to look at where can you find this wide place, wide open spaces where your potential client is. And no two people are the same. No two funnels would be the same in a legal community, because basically it's going to be based on what your specialty is. Then you have to think of something unique that would allow the people to pique their interest so that they kind of get in your funnel. So once someone gets in your funnel, say a particular client gets in your funnel, then you can provide value for them in it could be like a newsletter or tips or educational resources, or there's all sorts of things that you could do to nurture that relationship once you get them in your funnel. And that is the important part here, because a lot of people, they want to go from, oh, now you're in my funnel, now I want to sell you something. And that's not how it works. You really want to look and see what kind of value can you provide. Some people have found themselves doing a podcast, or some may find themselves doing a YouTube channel. Again, this can be glutted in your practice. You may or may not be able to attract the people that you want, but you have to be a student of your potential client. You need, like, what are their interests? What are their needs? What are their wants? What is important to them? So that I can provide those things so that I am attracting them, and then I can continue to nurture them, and they can find what they need, what they want. I have a client, and she was talking to me yesterday about a program that she was going to give with her husband, actually, because they were in opposites. They both were in a complementary business that would help both of their practices. He wasn't a lawyer, but she's a lawyer. And the niche that they created was a beautiful thing. It was beautiful because it was something that's very pertinent in today's market. And so that's what you want to look like. Look out there if you know enough about what you're doing, and it might be something no one else has thought of, no one else has talked about. That is something that you can provide for your prospective client in a very interesting and a way that is fun. I always say, have it be fun. Don't be, the old days when sales, and lawyers can't do this obviously because of legal ramifications, but the old salesperson used to be, okay, you're going to go and you're going to put your foot in the door, you're going to knock on the door, you're going to put your foot in the door and try to work your way in. Or I'm going to call them and I'm going to get them on the phone and I'm going to keep trying to overcome their objections until they say yes. Those are really old, outdated ways. Relationship and value is what's going to bring people in your funnel. So just before we go, we have a few more minutes left. Let's just talk about some of the benefits of you going out of your way to create a funnel. So for one of the things is it gets a streamlined to client acquisition, and you have a funnel where you have an ongoing new people coming in or different opportunities to speak to different people so that you have a steady flow instead of sitting there twiddling your thumbs wondering where your next client is. The next thing is it creates automation. So once you get them in your funnel, then you can have your emails or your text or your programs, whatever it is, but you can automate that process. And someone, can be in a funnel, for a year, and then all of a sudden this new client pops up because you have had them be in your funnel. The other thing is when you have your funnel, you can see whether through data, whether or not what you're doing is working. If it's not working, then you will know in the numbers of what the response rate to whatever it is you provide. And usually this is a point of that you want to make and be important that you understand this, is that even though that might not have worked, you have to just keep reinventing and keep trying different ways. It's not that the need isn't there. It's you have to take responsibility and say, the way I'm communicating this is not landing with my prospective client. So a lot of times we say things what we think they want to hear, but no, we have to find and keep playing around until we get a data-driven response that responds to what it is we're talking about. The other thing is that it's it's not like a consistent having clients, knowing that you can count on. It's not like you're a desert. It's a desert now. There's no clients. I don't know where they're going to come from. I'm not sure where there's no client. I hope and pray that a client will show up, versus I'm having a regular flow of clients that I know I can, that I have a pipeline of potential client. And if I'm smart, if I use the right strategy and nurture these individuals, then I won't have that, what they call the feast or famine. The other thing is it's just not a marketing trend, it's a business strategy. So once you get that in, and then it's not like you put the funnel there and it's going to last forever because things change, but you can always tweak, reinvent your funnel and automate automate the process so that you find yourself constantly getting leads, building long-term relationships, and getting new clients. I also want to say that having a funnel is something that is very important for you to have, and you want to learn about that. And so that's where, having a coach or having a coaching session is important. We offer one of the funnels that we offer a free time management mini course for attorneys. And so for no cost, they can get access to this course that has proven tips and strategies over time for managing your time in law practice based on my 25 years of coaching attorneys. And then it goes into the next one, which is a low cost, which is the 4-hour workday. So that it builds on the mini course, which is a very, very structured, but not time intensive course. And then you go to the 4-hour workday, and then that gets in the real tools and strategies for having your work completed, your heavy lifting done by 2 o'clock. It's very specific. And then the next stage of that is if someone wants to have a 30-minute coaching call with me, then we actually take all of that and help them create a plan that works for them. And so that's an example of my funnel. And this is a funnel that you can somewhat replicate. And if you want some help with that, you can always contact me, of course. As always, I'm glad that we have this time together. We keep it brief because we know that you have busy schedules, but we always want to bring value to you so that you can bring in the mental, emotional, and strategic successes to be the lawyer that you've always wanted to be. Thank you so much, and I will see you next Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. Take care.